So as Luke said, my name is Dr. Gemma Irvine, my pronouns are she and her, and I'm the Vice President for Equality and Diversity at Maynooth University. And I'm delighted to be here to speak both on the national response and the setup of the National Student and Researcher Helpdesk, and also speak to our collaboration with Scholars at Risk. So to start with, it was back in March when the Department of Further and Higher Education, Research, Innovation and Science, or DFERIS as we call it for short, asked the higher education sector to set up a central help desk to assist the displaced Ukrainians who were coming to Ireland and interested in accessing higher education in Ireland. I think we have about 38,000 displaced Ukrainians, and the estimates at the time was that about 10% of those would be at higher education age. Maynooth University, where I am based, was asked to host the help desk, but this is as a national shared service on behalf of the sector. And so it was in early April of this year that we put out expressions of interest and a call to all of the Irish higher education institutions, the HEIs, for 6 people, now 7, to volunteer to come and work in the help desk. And this was a secondment opportunity and was set up fairly quickly. They pivoted, and it's an excellent indicator of how well the higher education sector can work together in response to a crisis. So we have a number of oversight structures. This help desk is virtual. All of our staff work in their own institutions all the way around Ireland, but they're connected via a virtual platform. We have a national steering group. This is chaired by the department, the FERIS, and it has representatives of the key stakeholders involved in higher education. So that's the Irish Universities Association, SEA with the Technological Higher Education Association, Maynooth University, and my colleague Dr. Rose Ryan, who has oversight of the help desk operations. We've got the QQI from a qualifications point of view, the Higher Education Authority, which has oversight and governance of the institutions, and the ETB, Educational Training Board, Adult Education Guidance Service. So this was bringing together a lot of stakeholders to get the latest updates from the department and the government in relation to the response to displaced Ukrainians and their supports. From a policy point of view, we had a number of working groups on specific areas, because looking at the response that was needed, the registrars and the institutions needed to be involved, and the admissions officers and recognised prior learning colleagues. We have medical deans and adult guidance counsellors and also researchers. And they were working on developing a specific frequently asked questions, but also a script of questions for the help desk when they are engaging with people. We have also a single point of contact into the institutions, and this is a mix of different staff. Some institutions have located this response in their international office, others in the admissions or academic, or in the research office. So you can see that it's entirely across the sector, everybody working together. So the aim of the National Student and Researcher Helpdesk is really to provide that central point of contact for those seeking information. There could be more than 20 institutions that a student would need to go to find out information. And the aim was to centralize this, so they only had to go to one point of contact, and similarly for researchers. The help desk itself was also to provide an assessment of English language competency and advise if people were interested in progressing or looking for further language options, and a translation of documents if needed. Transcripts for educational purposes, it could be CVs or work documents. And initial guidance on the options available, particularly depending on the field of research that people are working in. This may narrow the different institutions that would be appropriate or of interest to the people that the help desk was working with. And then the final point would be to link whoever is contacting the help desk with the relevant higher education institutions in Ireland, so they can go directly into their admissions processes or their research work processes. So if you are a displaced researcher and you were interested in working in research in a different country, we would advise you to keep your options open internationally. And this is where I'm speaking in relation to the Scholars at Risk, which is an international organisation renowned for their matchmaking and helping to find safe places for researchers to work if they have been displaced. I've put on the slides there a link where you can register yourself so that you're in the Scholars at Risk system, and then you would be offered international places. So this isn't just Ireland, but it would include the entire world. So from a help desk point of view, this is to provide more information on placements just in Ireland. And I've just included the email address there, and I will put in the chat the phone number as well if you're based in Ireland. And we would advise people to contact the help desk and to register themselves. We will have a web-based form up and running in the next day or two, and it will be the perfect place to log information about yourself that you can then use to be shared with interested institutions. So you will have to agree to your information being shared, and that will enable the help desk to facilitate matchmaking. In Ireland, we have GDPR, which is very much in relation to data sharing regulations, and it is a requirement that we have your agreement in advance. You can also have a look, as Luke had mentioned, the Science for Ukraine website, where a lot of our principal investigators or people who have posts that may be available are advertising those. And the Ucrisis website has some excellent information specifically in relation to Ukraine also, and they have a job application process, so a listing of posts around Europe. And then this is the government link that I've included, where there is good information for people arriving from Ukraine, and more broadly, information that you may like to know about Ireland and what it would involve to move or live here. So the matchmaking process, once you as a researcher register with the help desk, we will take the high-level information that you have shared with us, your field of research, degree, perhaps the duration that you're looking for a role, and anonymously share that with the single point of contact for researchers in the institutions. This is mirroring the process that the Scholars at Risk internationally do. If a higher education institution is interested in a researcher, they will request more detailed information pack. And this could include your name, your CV, examples of work outputs, publications, etc., from the help desk system where you have logged that information. The higher education institution will check internally with the principal investigators, the PIs, who hold research grants, and also their departments to see if they can find a suitable academic mentor to partner with you. If they then are at the point where they would like to progress, the institution will come back to the help desk and ask for those personal contact details so that they can contact the researcher directly. And then it's the institution with that researcher, but the institution who would apply to the funding agency for grant support. And we're going to hear more about the detailed opportunities that the funding agencies are providing. So what can you do as a principal investigator who has one of these grants? You can register your post or your opportunity here with Scholars at Risk, and that gives you access to their database internationally with displaced researchers who may be interested. You can also register your post on the Science for Ukraine website. And then the help desk itself will share a weekly list to the contact points in the institutions of people who have contacted them looking for posts. So you can see here the contact details with the email address and also the phone number. And I think these slides will be available afterwards. But this gives you a snapshot of the Irish response in relation to setting up the National Student and Researcher